Hi, I'm Judy Rider, and I want to talk to you today and show you how to do a simple floral bouquet. It's kind of intimidating sometimes if you have a big bouquet of flowers in front of you and you've got all different sorts and varieties of flowers and they're all beautiful, but if you try to paint them and then all of a sudden you get bogged down in all the detail. So this isn't going to have a lot of detail, it's just going to have a lot of simple shapes, and then we're going to build contrast through some texture. So a lot of times when I do these little demos, I'll do a small one like a card. You can make it as a card, it could be a small gift for someone. So we're going to start basically with just a simple wash. And I'm going to start with the flowers, the red flowers, and we're just going to do a basic wash. So the first thing I'm going to do is put out some fresh paint. And this is a nice warm red. I want to start with a warm red. These could be geraniums or you know, all kinds of things, carnations, whatever flower you want it to be. It really doesn't have to be a specific flower. You just want to load a small round brush, roll it to a fine point, and then just basically with a little water just sort of put the paint on the paper. And that's the first step, just getting that paint on the paper. Try to make them different sizes. Don't make them all exactly the same size or shape. And put them a little different. They don't need to be little, like little soldiers all in a row. You can come back and soften an edge here and there. Leave a few whites in them if you want to, just for some little highlights or sparkly things later. You can connect it if you want to. Okay, and then immediately I'm going to go into the yellow, which is going to be not only yellow flowers but also a basis for my some of my greenery that's going to be in there to begin or to at the end. And I'm just going to kind of surround this yellow very lightly. I'm going to put it around those red shapes. In a place or two, if it touches, that's fine. I'm thinking about the overall shape of the bouquet, and I don't want it to be too static. Sometimes when we have bouquets, they'll have shoots of things going out in different directions. So in this case, we're going to maybe put it so it's not all just like a little lollipop or something like that. Maybe this will even be like a little forsythia branch or something like that. You can, on the ones that are on the side, you can make little dot type things, and those kind of act like little tiny buds later on. Also, I like to put a little orange. Now, I could go back and put a little red there, but I'm just going to drop in a little orange in a place or two just to show you how to add other flower shapes without really having to draw them and agonize over having every petal exactly right. Okay. Now let's go ahead and, gosh, we're at this point. I think I'll add just a little more yellow down here. And I want to get some lavender in there. So put a little lavender out in my palette. These will be sort of background flowers. Put a little blue in it. Like I said, these are just nice little washes. They don't have to be anything specific. Just sort of an indication of a different color flower or something else going on. You know, our eye will read them as flowers simply because of the shape of the bouquet and the fact that we are going to add some texture to it here in a little bit to increase some of the values on these. But we'll have to wait till that dries to do that, but this is how you start. And these things, the more you, quicker you paint them and the less you agonize on them, the better they turn out, because they're really just impressions of what, you know, perhaps a bouquet that was in front of you. All right, now I think we can just go ahead and I'll put this aside and let that dry. But I can actually, I have one almost to this stage right here, so I'm going to go ahead and add the lavender on this, and then we'll add some greenery. Since this is nice and dry, it'll go a little faster when I add the green on it. Okay. And every time you do this, you know, you'll do them a little differently. They don't have to be exactly the same. Obviously, every time you're going to have, you know, a different look to it, or maybe some different light source or something. At this point, I'm going to actually, you can blot a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little shadow wash since I've got this lavender out here. And I'm thinking, you know, with the light maybe coming this way, so the cast shadow can be on this side. And we'll go ahead and put that down there. We'll add just a touch of gray to that. This will give it some shape as far as the vase that it's in. We'll carve out those little shapes right there. A little warmth in there. Kind of do that. And I'll just go ahead and put the cast shadow as well, or at least the starts of it. We may come back and do something a little different with that later, but we can just make it sure it's grounded here, like it's sitting on something and not floating. And I always like to put a little warmth on the edges of those cast shadows, just to indicate some variation there. Okay, now at this point we can start adding some of the greenery that you see, and I can do that by going to a blue, or I could go directly to a green. So I'm going to do a little bit of both, just to have a variety in the greens. Let's start with the lighter green. Maybe has a little yellow in it. And I don't want to cover up all my yellow, because I want to leave some of it as a flower. So I'm just sort of weaving some of this green in between some of the flowers, covering up some of the yellow, but not all of it. We'll leave at least a little bit of it here and there. And underneath here, this would maybe be a little darker. Leave a little breathing room there for something hanging down. I don't mind if I sort of end up going into another area, because it can always turn into something else if I need it to. But if you think about it, this is more about just the shapes of what you see in bouquets. So you don't have to agonize over, well, gosh, this is a geranium, I've got to get all the little petals in there, or gosh, this is a daisy, how am I going to keep those centers nice and bright? It's just more or less your expression of the flowers. Now I'm going to come back and maybe enhance the yellow just a little bit here and there. Put a little new gamboge in that and warm it up just a little bit. Okay. Soften some edges here and there. Okay. All right, now I need to add some stems and I need to add some texture.